Hey you guys, welcome back to Discover You podcast. We are diving into an episode today talking about freedom, talking about our rights, talking about all of the amazing things that are happening in Canada right now with the Freedom Truckers Convoy. If you haven't seen it, we're going to be talking all about it. This isn't about division, segregation, racism, white supremacy. This is all about talking about how freaking powerful and amazing Canadians are coming together and uniting. And it's not even just uniting. And it's not even just Canada. It is the whole world, you guys. So if you're following along the podcast on your listening device, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's YouTube, if you're watching me here live on YouTube, or over on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, you name it. Follow along. Send me any review down below if you feel called to share a review, and let me know that you're listening to the podcast. I love to hear from you guys, and I know people can be kind of shy hiding their listening away, and I'm so happy you're here listening, but I also want to hear from you. So be sure to share the podcast or leave a review down below. And with all of that said, let's dive into today's episode on freedom. All right, you guys. So if you are not Canadian, that's totally fine. We are supporting the entire world. Everyone is collectively coming together. If you haven't seen in the past week the Truckers Freedom Convoy happening in Canada, oh my gosh, you guys, go follow along my social media, my Instagram. I'll link it up here if you're watching on YouTube, and it's in the show notes below if you're listening over on the podcast. But go check it out, you guys. It is oversaturated on social media. We are sharing like crazy. We're getting the word out, getting the message out. And as of today marks a historic day that I am filming the podcast episode talking about this. And also I just want to live in this magical energy of the truckers are in Ottawa, and they are arriving, have arrived, many of them, and they are all in the downtown around Parliament, fighting for our freedom, for vaccine mandates to drop, and for freedom of choice and people's rights to be reactivated. So if you haven't been following along the convoy, you're listening to this for the first time and you're like, what are you talking about? What's happened in Canada in the last few weeks is that Mr. Captain Wonderful, we won't name his name, our Prime Minister, he put in place that all truck drivers crossing the Canadian and U.S. land border need to be double vaccinated to do their job. So this is huge because if you're not familiar with Canada, there is an insane amount of mandates where you have to be double vaccinated to go and do certain things, go into certain places, go partake in society, pretty much get on a plane, do anything. If you're American, you're probably like head is exploding right now and you're like, what are you talking about? This is happening in Canada, you guys. If you are not double vaccinated, you cannot do anything but go to the grocery store and a mall. And anything essential service, basically. So this all came to a screeching head with the truck drivers in the fact that they are like, we are not doing this. Truck drivers worked the entire pandemic when there was no vaccine available. They worked tirelessly through the pandemic, and there was no question asked that when everyone else was able to stay home and not have to be in essential service, that they were expected to work and keep the production line moving, keep food coming in, keep fuel coming in, all of the things that truckers do. And there was never a question. But now, as we hit 2022, there's a question about the validity of them not being vaccinated and that having to be a stipulation to do their job. So in Canada, the Canadian truck drivers who are against this, it's not about anti-V, it is about our right to choose, our freedom as Canadians, the fact that we are having to present information to go to a store, to go to a hockey game, to go sit in a coffee shop is really, really wrong. And it has taken a mandate like this to come in for truck drivers who were expected to work essential service in a pandemic with no idea how bad or dangerous or scary this could be, to now being forced to do something with their body, like everyone else is being forced to continue to bring an essential service to our country. So it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't matter where you sit on the vaccine or the non-vaccine. What matters is that you don't agree with mandates. You don't agree with freedom. You don't agree with forcing people to do something to provide a service that they've provided for the last 2 years, no question asked. When everyone else could stay home and be safe, they didn't even get the choice. Just like I didn't get the choice. I work in transport. I work in essential service. Just like nurses and doctors and other healthcare providers, many people that are essential to this entire country moving forward. And I didn't have that choice. There's not a single choice that I had to be home and be safe and to feel safe in my house and not out there working and doing all of the things. But it wasn't even a question. I didn't get the question of going, do you want to stay home? No, there's no question, because it has to get done. Without the work that I do, there is no fuel that gets delivered to gas stations. There is no resources that get delivered to move the economy and the transport industry forward. So it's not just about truckers, but they are the heroes right now. They are the real MVPs. They are the ones that are standing up and they are fighting for us. So they have created this integral, huge collective of truck drivers, 60,000 truckers, and growing by the minute, coming across. So they started in Delta, BC, and they've moved all the way across Canada, all the way into Ottawa now. And then on the East Coast, there's been all these trucking groups that have decided to start their own convoy and move across Eastern Canada to meet them in Ottawa, to go to Parliament with the intention that the mandates will be dropped and lifted, and there will be no mandate on truckers or any Canadians, because we've reached a point where we have been doing this for so long. We have complied. We have allowed ourselves to be manipulated and coerced into doing something and partaking in something that goes against our human rights, goes against the Charter of Freedom and Rights, and quite frankly, goes against what humans stand for, goes against everything that we have fought for, every ounce of freedom that we have fought for. It's gone against everything else we say and everything else we do. So it is so integral right now to jump onto this bandwagon supporting the convoy. And we'll talk about that here next, just talking about that in a moment. But I really want to talk about where people are at and what's kind of brought this to a head. So obviously the truckers are the ones leading this integral movement. They're driving this forward. And to see the amount of support from Canadians, like they've already raised a ton of money on GoFundMe. They're just doing these most beautiful movements of trying to support people and allow the truckers to keep moving and to be in Ottawa until something changes, whether Mr. Fabulous resigns, Mr. Fabulous drops mandates, whatever it might be. But Canadians are done with this. And this is something that I felt rooted in my heart for the entire pandemic. And again, I want to preface, it's not about whether you're vaccinated or not. Like, we are so far past that being what it's about anymore. It's about our freedom. It's about our rights. It's about being able to choose and support each other collectively so we can have the greatest country and the greatest Canada to live in for ourselves, for our children, for our future grandchildren. Like, we're not doing anything right now that is helping us move forward. We are just complying and being coerced and manipulated into this little box. And that's what, unfortunately, the media, the news, the government, politicians, the FDA, all of these people that work for each other, that profit off all of the stuff that's happened over the last 2 years, they are the people that want you to comply. They are the people that want you to be afraid and scared and nervous and anxious of people, and they want you to be so afraid that you're going to do what they say. And we've never seen coercing and manipulation like this in centuries. And to be living in this world right now, I remember 2 years ago when they started talking about a vaccine, an experimental vaccine for a virus they didn't understand. I was like, what? My immediate gut reaction was, there is no freaking way I'm putting anything in my body for you. No matter what the narrative is or the script is. And it's fine if you did, it's fine if you didn't. Whatever your choice is. Again, this is personal. This is about our freedom and our choices. So for me, it was just like, there is no way I'm doing this. Like, absolutely no way. I knew to my core that I could never. And I also knew that in my soul, if I did that, I would be selling a part of myself. And that is the key right there, is that a lot of people have sold a part of themselves to do this. They have given up what they thought was right because they were manipulated, because they felt guilted, because they felt pressured, because they felt scared. Whatever the reason is, you've been coerced and manipulated to believe that something is the thing you should do, when maybe to your core, to your heart, to your gut, whatever, maybe you know it wasn't the right thing, but you did it anyway. So we can't go back in time. We can't change those things. And this might be very triggering to some people, and people that are not on this movement, that are against this movement, are the ones that possibly sold themselves to the devil for this cause. Or you had to because of your job. You did it because of your children. You did it because you were told it would protect the people that you love, which has also been a lie. So everything they've said has been either a lie, false, changed, or completely invalid, or just completely inhumane, because they've been manipulating us. So maybe this isn't your thing. Maybe it's triggering you and you're like, screw this chick. That's fine. I'm done hiding. I'm done cowering. I'm done stepping on eggshells to not piss everybody off, because you know what? This isn't about that. It's not about what you did. It's not about what you choose. It is about what we do next for ourselves, for our families, for our children, for everybody collectively in the world. This movement is creating so much traction that people in other countries are starting to convoy. Australia is starting a convoy. The US is sending up a convoy into Canada to meet the truckers. There is this collective shift in energy that is so freaking powerful, you guys, that if you watch it, it will bring you to tears. And I am being brought to tears right now just telling you this, because like the power of what has happened in the last week, the movement, the integrity of truckers, of heroes, of people who are willing to fight for our right to say no or to say yes or to do whatever we want, that is fucking magic. It is magic. And I just never thought that I would reach a place where I felt like the Canadian people would actually stand up. I never in a million years thought that this past week would change me so much as a human and change my views so much. It has been the most enamoring week and the most proud week I've ever felt for Canadians, to literally see them come together. See truck drivers drive through towns of people with signs and no masks and coming together to just hold us up, to fight for us. It has been the most beautiful, incredible thing to actually see ever. I don't think I've ever seen a movement that has brought me so much joy, has brought me to tears, has brought emotion in me that I haven't felt in 2 years, because I felt the last 2 years that we just lost ourselves, that we were pushed down, defeated, told what to do. And then to see this like collective unity of humans coming together and being like, I'm done with this. I am done playing by the rules. I'm done being told what to do. I'm done having to feel like I have to be afraid to live my life, afraid to see humans, afraid to exist in this world. So it has been a monumental movement, and there's a lot of misinformation about how it's a white supremacy act, it's racist, it's driven by racist people. And the news and the media are spinning these storylines to make this look bad, to make it look unpeaceful, to make it look like it's an awful protest where they're fighting and they're angry, and that's not the case at all. In Ottawa, the Freedom Convoy is just full of love, full of hearing people, supporting people. It doesn't matter what side you are on. It doesn't matter whether you vaxxed or didn't vaxxed. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It is about our rights, our freedom to choose, and it shouldn't matter whether you did the thing or you didn't do the thing. It's all about our rights, our freedom to choose, to move forward, to create a better Canada moving forward. And it's not a hate protest, it's not an angry protest, it's not a screw you protest. It is literally about bringing us all together with the hope that the mandates go and the mandates drop and we are done with this. That is the hope. But even if that doesn't become the outcome, even if nothing actually changes out of it, which I think it will, things are starting to shift. Saskatchewan has already put out a notice saying that they will be dropping the mandates for truckers into the province, and they will also be dropping the mandates in the near future for the actual vaccine passports. So we're creating movement. This is shifting people. It is changing people. On no scale did we ever think we would come together and have people holding each other. To see the stories, the videos, the momentum of every town that you drive through, and people are holding signs, cheering truckers on, cheering each other on, coming from a place of love and not fear. And if you've listened to my podcast before, I talk a lot about standing in your power, listening to your truth, choosing love over fear, over scarcity. It is hard and not easy to do by yourself, but when you are united with people who feel the same way, there's power in that. There is power and strength in being together and holding each other up. And this is what we've been lacking in our human connection. We crave and need to have people together. We need to be around humans. We need human interaction. We need to feel the gratitude of humans, the embrace and the love of other humans. That is how we are human conditioned to want love and nurturing and support. And the last 2 years has been hard. It has been the hardest time in my life where I felt like I had no hope. I had no one. I was alone. I was scared. I was fearful. I was reaching a point where I didn't want to see humans. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to do a lot of things because the fear and the manipulation had gotten to me. And I never lost faith. I never lost hope. But I felt day by day that it was dwindling and fading away faster than I could control. And then this movement happens and I meet these amazing people on social media, reaching out, connecting, sharing, being a voice, holding me up, telling me they felt this way the entire time and that they're so alone. And to realize that we're all living the same human existence of wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel loved, wanting to feel secure. And we have that. We have that in unity. We have that in supporting each other and holding each other up. It is so powerful. It is so beautiful. So I'll start to move towards closing the podcast up and telling you guys how you can support the convoy and how you can get the word out and do as much as you can to create unity and bring us together even further to reach a place where there's no mandates for anybody. There's no restriction for anybody, that we are, going to continue to move forward as humans together. So what this looks like is getting on social media, you guys, following the Freedom Convoy, following me over on social media and sharing the videos that I share with the people that are watching your stories in your Instagram, your social media, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I've got all of those linked below for you guys to follow along. I'm always active on there and sharing, and that is the best ways that we can keep sharing, keep reaching, keep stretching out our voices, and keep hoping that people will realize that it's not about where you are, it's about where we go next. So go support over on social media. You can also follow the Freedom Convoy, and they have a GoFundMe page to support them with funds, getting drivers moving across the country, feeding them, places for them to stay, using that money to support the people who are fighting for our freedom, people that are trying their damnedest to just make a change and shift something here. So there's that GoFundMe. And then because of all of the backlash and all of the misinformation that people are spewing all over media and all over social media too about racism and the convoy not caring about other movements, I truly feel that people are living in their own experience, their own traumas, and that they are projecting their views to be like, my movement didn't get the traction this is getting, so why doesn't this matter? Which is valid. Everyone has their trauma, their experience, their whatever. But what the Convoy has done is started a second GoFundMe page to raise money for clean drinking water for different groups of people in Canada, because there's many areas that don't have clean drinking water on reserves, Indigenous people, etc., different groups of people. I don't know all of them, but they have created a GoFundMe to raise clean drinking water, because that is something that Mr. Fabulous decided that he was going to do 6 years ago when he came into power, and he hasn't done any of that. So in only a matter of like 36 hours, it's over $300,000 just for clean drinking water. Look at the power of Canadians and what they do and how they bring to this world. Wow. So go check them out, go follow along, support if you can financially. If you can't financially, that's okay. Just share and get the message out. Connect with people. Know that this is about our freedom and our rights and being mandate free of these things. And know that you're not alone in this. If you have people in your life that are telling you this is ridiculous, telling you this is bullshit, telling you that you're dumb for supporting this and it's a bad cause, you know what? You don't need people like that. You need people like me in your corner. So reach out, connect, share, you guys, because there's power in unity. We are alone without that unity. So I'm going to leave the podcast here. I had to come on. This historic, monumental day in history is being made right now as we speak. In these exact moments, the collective is shifting, the energy is shifting, our future is shifting, because people are coming together for the first time and caring about each other no matter what the reason, circumstance, situation is. So please share, please reach out. And if you're not following on the podcast, be sure to follow along on your listening device, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. Watch me over on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, you guys. I cannot wait to hear from you, connect with you. Please rate the podcast down below if you feel called to. And of course, hit me up on social media. Let's connect. Let's talk. I'm here for you guys always. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the Discover You podcast. And I can't wait to hear from you guys and connect next week on the podcast. Take care, you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.